if you have played the game Bully, I'm sure many of you know that game, a game by Rockstar. You remember in the English class there is a word game, mini game in that game called Bully. So in the game in that mini game, you have a set of letters. The letters are mixed up, they are scrambled. Now these letters make up they are a kind of spelling of a word. So you have to arrange the the letters to get other words, a kind of anagram or something of that nature. We'll be making something similar in this tutorial, and in this game we'll be using the word carpenter. So you play the game by clicking on a letter. You click on a letter, as I'm doing on your screen. So once you click on the letter, it will disappear from here and appear up here. So once you arrange the letters correctly, for example, let me spell react. So you see as the computer reacted, of course. Now it will disappear. It will disappear from this place and appear here. So you have to spell a word that can be gotten from carpenter, and we are gunning for 5 to 8 letter words, and of course the word carpenter itself. And you have a timer. You also have the remaining words and words found. So the remaining words are 130 and words found 0. So you have to, once you find each word, for example, REACT, you see it changes. So this is what we are going to make today. It's a very simple. So here is the index.html file. In the index, you have of course you have your head and the body. Then in the head, now you have the link to the style sheet, and this one is the link to the JavaScript file, of course, the main thing we are doing today. So in the body, you have the main. In the main, you have the top bar. We also have the timer. We have remaining words. The inside the H4 remaining words. Then there's also in it. There is also there is a span tag with the class name of rem words. That's kind of short for remaining words. Then we also have words found, and of course the class name of words found, and here we have 0. Then we have chosen letters with the input field, with an input field. So now here we disable the text because we do not want you to type anything here. So that is this one. Don't want anything to be typed. So that is why there is the disabled, that disabled statement or something here. So under it, we have the correct words. This is where we keep track of the words that you have spelled correctly, as this one here. And you also have shuffled letters. Yeah. So this is where the letters that have been, scrambled or shuffled will be displayed. Now you have the button, the div with the class name of buttons, and inside you have the button class of reshuffle. Here it is. Now we move to the style sheet. Of course, this is not a it's not a CSS tutorial, so I won't even talk about it, just because you can style it anyhow you want. But if you want to style it the way I did it, so you just copy all these things here. So let me scroll down a bit so that you will see the other parts. Excuse me. So here they are. So you can just pause the video and type all these things out. So I don't want to talk about it to waste time. So let me start again. So just pause the video and copy all these things into your own IDE. So we have to move straight to the JavaScript. Now we start by first of all adding an event listener to the window object. The reason why we do that is because, as you can see here, we put the link to the script file or to the JavaScript, at the head section. If we had put it in the body section, then there would have been no need for that event listener. So we do that by saying window.add event listener. Now, what event are we listening for? We are looking for the DOM, DOM, all caps, loaded. So once this happens, we want to run a function. Now put a comma here. Now let's call that function start. Call it start. Now let's save it. As I said before, the DOM content loaded fires off when the window has completely loaded. So it's just to prevent the JavaScript file from running before the whole HTML file has completely loaded. So that's what we're doing here. We want to use this opportunity to see if our files are well connected. If they are connected, I know they are, but let's just demonstrate it. So we do that by defining the function first of all. Function start with let me do the space. So function starts. Now let's console.log connected. So let's inspect and see. Don't mind this. This is from brackets. So as you can see, as I loaded the live server of the brackets IDE, so it's from there. So don't worry about that. We concentrate on this connected up here. So it is connected. We don't have any problem. So the next thing we have to do now is to select all these. We have to select these ones because we are going to work with them. We select these ones too, this one and this one and this one. All of them have a role to play, so we select them and store in their variables. So let's timer assign to document. This is assignment sign. It's not equal. It's not like math. You understand? So this is assigned to document.getElement by ID. So don't be confused because here I used ID. Our getElement by ID. I would have used query selector and put a hashtag here, but anyway, there are different ways of doing things. So these other ones, shuffled letters, chosen letters, correct words, reshuffle. As you can see, I use the same names to in the in the index file. So here is timer, rem words found, so and so forth and so on. So that's that. As you know already, the computer is not an intelligent creature. It's just a machine. Therefore, it doesn't have a mind of its own. It cannot think. It cannot bring up new ideas. So it's just based on calculation. The words we are going to, in fact, from the demo, you already know what we are going to do. Those words that the computer will recognize when you have spelled them correctly, the computer recognizes it. So it has to be stored in somewhere in the memory. I won't type all those words my own. I just did a little research and found, I think 5 to 8 letter words, including the main word itself, carpenter, which is a 9-letter word. So I just have to look for, I just had to find some, a solution. Found some words. I think it's all the words from 5 to 8 letter words that I could, or that can be possibly gotten from carpenter. So let me paste them here. So these are the words. I commented this out. Now let words be assigned to all these. So at the end of the day, these things, these words here won't really do anything. There isn't much the computer can do with them because it's just a block of text. Now what we have to do is to separate them or to split them into an array. So yes, when you split them into an array, then you store them inside the variable. Now how do we split this thing? So we will do that by using the split method on this variable here. Let's use first of all, let me paste it. Words dot split. It will convert all these things into an array of words. Now let me put a variable first. Let me use words compare, because we are going to be comparing words. So let words compare be assigned to words dot split. Remember, the space here is very important, because without this space you will get something you're not expecting. Now let's console log and see what we have. Console.log words compare. So as you can see, we are getting letters, individual letters. Obviously it's not what we want, something else. So what we want to see here is we want to see words, not letters. So that is why we added the space. So let's see what we have. Yep, as you can see, definitely we have words, an array of words. There is one thing missing. What's missing? Yeah, if you can remember in the demo, they were all capital letters. They were all in uppercase. But what we have here are in lowercase. They are all in small letters. So we have to convert them to capital letters first of all, before we do anything. And of course, as usual, once we do that, we have to store it inside a variable. So let's get on with that. So let's take these things out. Now what do we have here? Let's uppercase. This is the name of the variable. Now words compare, that is this one. Words compare.map. Word compare. I hope you're getting what we are doing here. So this is more or less like a group. For this one, we are now picking them one after the other. Now we are going to run this to uppercase function on the content of the variable. It will pick one word here, then run this function on it, and it will give you it will convert it to uppercase. So let's see if it worked. Console.log uppercase. Yep, it worked. So everything now is in uppercase. It's now in capital letters. So this time around, let me remove these things first. What we are going to do is to select this one. To change the content here. Something is supposed to appear here. And this was found too. We are going to take care of it. So remove this one. So rem words. This is the rem words. Rem words, kind of remaining words as I said before. Now rem words, let's copy. No, let me use this one instead. Copy. So we are going to access the inner HTML. Inner HTML is uppercase dot length. If I can spell correctly. So remwords.inner HTML is assigned to uppercase.length. So this will return a number. So this number represents the number of words inside this variable or inside this array. Because as we move forward, we are going to take words each time you get a word correctly. So we want to keep track of the number of words you have gotten correctly. This one just shows how many words that are still remaining, or that are yet to be spelled correctly or yet to be found. Also, we will have to handle the words found. So let's copy this. Words found dot inner HTML is 0. So we'll start from 0 first. As you spell, the more words you spell correctly, the more this number increases, and this number goes up and this number goes down. So as you progress in the game. So the next thing we are going to handle is the timer. Yes, the timer is the next. So let me just paste it here. Now what do we have? It says let minute assigned to 5, sec is assigned to 60. So we now have a set interval. So set interval method is a method that calls a function or evaluates an expression at specified intervals in milliseconds. So what it means is that it's going to continue to call a specified function or specified snippet of code or code snippets, and it's going to do that at specified intervals. Now here is the function we are going to evaluate. This is the function we want it to run, and here is the time, the period of time. So we want this to be happening. We want this function to be called each second. Now let's explain what the function is all about. So it says timer. Bear in mind that here is the timer. So timer.innerHTML will be minute concatenated with this, concatenated with sec. So this will be concatenated with this string here. Now will be concatenated with 60. Once that happens, then sec minus minus, it simply means we subtract 1 from sec or from 60, as the case may be. If we get to the if portion, if sec is exactly 0, this is the sign for exactly. If we remove one equals sign, then it becomes similar. Now it's exactly. So once it's exactly 00, then we subtract 1 from minutes. Then sec we have to go back to 60 as usual. That is how time. That is how your watch counts. So once seconds go to 0, then 1 is removed from minute. Then second start from 60 again and counts down. So that's how it works. Now, if minutes is less than 2, timer.style.color, that is the color of this one, we change to red. If minutes is less than 0, then alert time up, then reload the page. All these things will happen. All these things will happen, or these functions will be called each second. So let's see what we have. Now let me save it. As you can see, so if this 5 here goes below 2, then the color here will change to red. So let's continue. The next thing we'll do is to get the word that we are going to work with. As I said before, we are going to work with the word carpenter. It says const word carpenter. I use const here because this is a constant kind of. We are not going to change anything here, so it is safe to use const in this case. Now, as we did before with this one, we are going to break them apart and store them as an array. That's what we are going to do next. So we'll do that by saying let word array. So word array is assigned to word.split. So in this case, we are looking for letters, not individual words. Therefore, we do not need to put any space here. Now, let's of course, you already know what will happen. So let's not talk about that. So let's continue. So after splitting the word carpenter, now what we have to do is to sort. We sort those letters. or we sort that array, please. We sort the array. It says let's sorted array. We call this a variable sorted kind of sorted array. So we first of all we sort it here, then store it here. Then the sort array is used to sort. The sort method is used to sort array elements. So by default, the array will sort in ascending order, but we can change it. In this case, we want it to be sorted in a random manner. So that is what this math.random is all about. So it will randomize the sorting, because we want everything to be randomized each time the game is loaded or the page is loaded. So after randomizing them, first of all, let's see what we have. So we'll say console.log console.log sorted R. Corrected it. So let's see what we have. Yeah, you see, they are all sorted in a random manner. So let's refresh. As you can see, well, the thing is that this is not the best way to do the sorting. There is another way it is done. It is called the Fisher-Yates method. With that method, you can always be sure you get it's more or less a real random sorting, because sometimes this one doesn't give you a good random sorting. But as far as the game we are playing is making is concerned, this is good enough. So what we'll do next is to display them somewhere here. It's not enough to just sort them. We are going to display them here. Of course, with that, to do that, we need a function. So let's knock this thing off. Let's take it out. So we'll start by first of all creating the function. We will call that function. Let's call it display. Let's call it display. So what we are going to do now with this function here, as you can see, this array, we have to loop through each of them. We do that using a for loop. So let me just paste it. So it says, for I is assigned to 0, I is less than sorted r.length, that is sorted r.length, which is 9, because there are it's a 9-letter word, I++, so which means add 1 after each iteration. So what do we want this for loop to do? Let me paste it. So as you can see, we create first of all a variable called letters. Now in this letters variable, we'll do a document.createElement. So what it means is you simply create element and store it in a variable called letters. And what element do we want to create? It's just an h1 element. Now this h1 element, which is stored inside this variable called letters, so letters.innerHTML. So the inner HTML of this, or the content of this h1 will be the current index. So if the current index is p, you get a p here. The letters.innerHTML will be a p. So the shuffled letters.append child letters, that is, letters will then be appended into this as kind of child elements. What is a child element? Child element is simply this. For example, this div here, this is the child element of this div. This input here is a child element of chosen letters. Understand? So the whole of this is a child element to the body element. So we append a child element to it, or we append the child elements. We append child elements letters to shuffled letters. So now let's see what we have. Looks like we're going to reload this. Okay, another classic child. What do we call it? I got child. Another classic schoolboy error has been made. I made a function forgot to call it. So we call the function by saying display. Now let's see what we have. Let's see if it is working. Alright. As you can see, it's working correctly. Now if I refresh it, you get, somewhat different or random letters each time. Of course, if I had used the Fisher-Yates method, then it will be better, but we don't really care in this case. So we'll have to continue. So for us to continue, we should remember that we should be able to click on this. But as we click it right now, as I click it right now, I don't get anything. Nothing happens. So in order to change that, we have to select them first of all, store it in a, store them in a variable as we have done before. We have to loop through them and give each of these letters an event listener. So we go back into the display function, not outside the display function. All these things will now be happening inside the display function. So we select them by saying, just as before, let me say int letter, in kind of individual letters. So let's use the variable int letters. Int letter simply means it's just something I came up with, individual letters. But let me say int letters be assigned to query selector. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. To documents dot query selector all. Bear that in mind. Now what do we want to select? We want to select all the H1. We want to select all the H1 element. So let's console log first of all. Console.log int letter. So we have a node list. A node list is somewhat similar to an array. As you can see, as I hover on this H1 here, you see it reacts. So what we have to do now is to iterate or loop through each of these, then assign an event listener to the to the letter or to them. But this time around, we are not going to use a for loop. We are going to use a for each method. I think it's better. It's better for, at least for node list, for handling node. It's better for handling node lists. So let's get going. So let's take this off. So let's take this thing off first of all. Now let me paste this. So it says int letters dot for each. Now function. Here we create another variable of int letter. So which means this is just a group, or this is like a group. Now we want to handle them individually. So what do we do then? So what we do next is just to add an event listener to it. So we do that by int letter dot add event listener. What event are we looking for? Remember, click. We're looking for a click event. Then once that happens, it runs this function. Don't worry about this. It's just a new way of writing function. It's called arrow function. So there's really nothing difficult about it. So once that click event occurs, what do we do? Or what do we want the computer to do? We want the computer to change the value of the chosen letters. Chosen letter is what? is this one. So we want to change the value of what is inside here, or we want to change the value of what is inside here. Chosen letters dot value. Remember, we selected the chosen letters. Remember, we selected the chosen letters here. Now we want to get the dot value. So the value of what of that input field. So chosen letters dot value will be plus equals end letter dot inner text. The inner text is the text itself, the text you see on the page. Don't forget, the end letter is the variable that holds the elements. The inner text is the content itself, the letter itself. So in this case, we use plus equals because we want to add to the content. You understand? If you put only equals, it will simply change the content or replace it. But that is not what we want. So let's see what we have. So as you can see, once we click here, the letter appears up here. So any letter we click here, let me refresh. R, it appears. E, P. So whatever letter we click here appears here. But as you can see, so if let's say I spell carp, C-A-R-P. The problem is that this once you click here, this letter is supposed to disappear. It's supposed to leave. It's not supposed to remain here because you are allowed to click on it just once. So that is what you are going to handle next. So as you can see, shuffled letters dot remove child. Now shuffled letters, as you already know, it's up here. So we already dealt with it here. Now what we are doing right now is simply to remove the letters once it is clicked. The letter must be moved because, as I said before, according to the game, you can only select it once. We remove that particular element that was clicked. So let's see if it's working. Let me refresh first of all. Now, yes, it's working. So once I click, for example, if I click this T, it goes away. It comes up here, then it is removed from here and added to this place. So once you click here, we want to get everything inside here. For example, this TEPR, we want to get it or get these letters or this group of letters up here and store it in a variable, because we'll be using that variable, or we'll be using what is inside here to work, because it is what is inside here that we will compare to what is inside the uppercase list or array. So first of all, let's get it and let's capture them and store them in a variable. So we do that by saying, so we say let user words is chosen letters dot value. Let user words assigned to chosen letters dot value. This is the chosen letters dot value. This is the dot value. Understand? So I cannot emphasize it enough, because my own days I found it very confusing. It's a very simple thing, but I don't know why exactly I found it confusing. Now let's console log and see what we have, if it works. Console.log user words, or should I call it user word? Yeah, user word is a better variable, is a better name for the variable. Let's console log and see what we have. Console, as you can see, each time we click on it, it appears here. So let me demonstrate it again. PAC, you see. So the next thing we are going to do is, so we have to now compare to see if the word inside here is among those words. So that is what we are going to do next. Let's move on. So let's take these things off first of all. So we are going to check by using the if method. So if uppercase dot includes user word. So if uppercase, that is if this here. So remember, this is the uppercase version of this. So if uppercase dot includes user word, so which means if the user word can be found in this uppercase, then let's say, okay, console log yes. So let's see if it will work. Mistake. Where? What is wrong with me? Oh God, I can't even spell. Includes. Oh la la. Includes. Oh my God. If uppercase include. So as you can see, it works. But yes, it's not what we want it to do, of course. So let's go back to our code and continue. So what we want the computer to do once we get a word correct. Remember, in this case, we are only looking for, or we are only interested in one option. So we don't need else, if you get what I mean. If and else. But in this case, we don't care what happens if you don't spell the word correctly. So we are not going to touch on that, at least in this project. So what we do next is we have to add that word to kind of a list of correct words, or yeah, a list of correct words. And I made something here at the top of the code. So correct word lists dot push. So we push that word into the correct word list. The user word list will be put here. So let's console log it once again. I like to console log because it helps me to, if in case I make a mistake, I know where I made a mistake, so that I don't waste so much time searching for the mistake. So let's console log. If you can do that, it will help you so much in your coding career, or as you're learning, it's going to help you so much. So let's console log. So don't get tired, please. What did I do here? So let's console log correct words list. So let's see let's see if it will work. So let's say PARENT. User word is not defined. Oh, that's not possible. User word. Oh yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, definitely works. So this list, we are going to use it later, because it is from this list that we are going to get the words that will appear here. So let's continue. Once we get there, we will know. So the next thing we will do is to make sure that once we get that word, then this space here goes back to empty. So that's what we are going to do next. So chosen letters dot value goes back to empty string. So let's see what we have. Let's see if it works. Let me refresh. So P-E-A-C-E. Oh wait, maybe I didn't save it. Oh yeah, I didn't save it. So P Caner, C-A-N-E-R. Yeah, it works. Good. So let's continue. Once we spell a word correctly, not only should this one disappear, all these ones too should go away. You understand? So these ones too should go away. So we achieve that by saying while shuffled letters dot first child. So shuffled letters are this one. This is where shuffled letters. This div here that contains all this is called the shuffled letters. So I don't forget. So dot first child. So dot first child is this one. Shuffled letters dot first child. We are going to remove child. So what it means here is that it will first of all check if there is a first child. If there is a first child, it will remove it. Then check it again. Check it again. If there is, then it will remove it until there is nothing left, and the while statement will then become false. So when we achieve that, once that happens, the next thing we are going to do is to make sure that that word we got, that we are able to do it only once. For example, if I say P-E-A-C-E, you see, it's still so let me try it again. P-E-A-C-E. Okay. So now the next thing we have to do is, once we get that word, we will have to reshuffle this thing or to rescramble this thing, and of course you understand what I mean. We simply rescramble it and fill this place again with 9 letters. So we do that by calling, we have to call the display function again. Display function. So now let's see if it works. So let me say P-E-A-C-E. Good. So everything has been reset. Or no, just here has been reset. P-E-A-C-E. You see? So what we are going to do next is simply each word you are able to spell correctly will be removed from the list, so that you will not spell that word again. You will not, even if you spell that word the second again, the computer would not recognize it. So let's get to that. So it says uppercase will then become uppercase dot filter. So the XX here will contain the X here, will contain all the words except the content of the variable. So the content of the variable will go, but all the words in the uppercase array will still remain. So this is how we filter out that word and throw it away, and we just delete it from the uppercase variable, from the uppercase array. So now we are with this. If you happen to spell that word again, the computer will not count it as as a score, something of that nature. So let's demonstrate it. So let me say NACE ERE. Oh, made a mistake. User words is not defined. So yeah, it's true. So let's say RACER. Good. RACER. Now let me see if I spell it again. Let's see if it will count again. RACER. As you can see, it doesn't count. Therefore, you can only spell each word once. So once we get that word correctly, it should also reflect here. Oh my god, what's wrong with this mouse? So it should also reflect here. So let's do it again. TRACE. Okay, trace. Okay, it should reflect here, but as you can see, it's not reflecting. So we'll have to do that now. So we say remwords.innerHTML uppercase.length. As you can see, as you know, once you take that word off, okay, sorry, I made a mistake. I am talking about this one first. Sorry, not here, this one. So once you remove that word, one word, the length will no longer be the same. So we then take the length and assign it, assign it to remwords.innerHTML. So let's see if it will work. Now let's say TRACE. Okay, it has now gone down to 129. Now let's try another one. PARENT 128. So this time we are going to first focus on this one. So let's continue. First of all, I omitted something earlier. We have to first of all, there's something we have to do here. So let's correct word count. It's assigned to 0. So we first of all make a variable we call correct word count. Now we assign it to 0. So each time we get a word correctly, 1 will be added to this 0 or to any number inside it. So let's go down. We say correct word count ++. Correct word count ++. Then, which means once we get a word correctly, 1 will be added to the correct word count variable. Now, we then take that word and assign it to words found.innerHTML. So words found, copy. .innerHTML. So let's see if it will work. Now, PARENT. Oh wait. Like I didn't save it. Oh yeah, I saved it. Oh sorry. Oh my god. Will be correct word counts. So let's see if it will work. I move faster than my shadow. Oh sorry. Let me refresh it. PARENT. Good, it's working. So once this one decreases, this one increases as you progress in the game. So let me try another word. N-A-C, oh my god, N-A-C-R-E. So let's try the second one. P-A-R-E-N-T. So as you can see, it is working. So the next thing we have to do is to any word that we get correctly should be made to appear in this place. So of course, any word that you get correctly should come here or should appear here. So for that to work, we need a function. So let's create a function. Let's call it add to correct words. Add to correct words. But add to correct words is not a JavaScript function, so we have to define it ourselves. So let me just paste the function here. Mind you, we are defining it inside we are defining it inside this inside the start function. You can see we are defining it inside the start function, not outside of it. I don't know if it will work if you put it outside, but I don't have much time to experiment. So it says function add to correct words. So we will first of all use a for loop. Understand? We will use a for loop because it is an array we are going to deal with. Mind you, we put that word inside correct word list. So correct word list is a what's it called? Correct word list is an array. Good. So we then use this for loop to go through the correct word list. Then we do DOM manipulation again. Now say let div, we create an element, create the div element. Then we also create the h4 element. Now the div, we append the div. Mind you, words here is the h4 elements. So the h4 elements will be put into the div. The div elements will then be appended to correct words. Now words.innerHTML becomes the correct words list or the index. After that, the correct word list will go back to an empty list. So because the last item must be removed, only an item is allowed at a time. If we don't take this back to what's it called? Of course, there's a better way of doing this, but let's just go with this way. I wanted to do it in a somewhat more difficult manner. So, because the more we do this, like this DOM manipulation stuff, it was difficult for me at first. But because I am always, exercising my brain on it, or exercising myself on it, with it, so it becomes a lot easier for me. So correct word lists, we'll have to go back to empty list. So let's see if at all it works. So let's say R-E-C-T-A. Excellent. Now there's a problem. What's the problem? If, for example, okay, let's say we wanted to spell parents, P-A-R-E, then instead of N, we put T. So you will have to refresh the page. Unfortunately, once you refresh it, everything you get, all other words you got correctly, is gone. So here is where this reshuffle button comes into play. So you should be able to click here, then it simply reshuffles everything without reloading the page. So that's what we are going to do next. So we have to do this one up here, at least here. we need to do it here so that it will work. It has to happen inside. Let me drink water. So it has to take place inside the display function. So let's put it up here. So what we are doing right now is to, here is the reshuffle, document.query selector, reshuffle button. So you get it. Come here, inside here. So let me just paste it. I don't have much time left. So reshuffle.add event listener, click. So the click event is what we want. Now it has to run this function. So chosen letters dot value, we go back to empty field. Then we remove all the remaining letters inside here. This one goes to empty. All the letters that are remaining will leave, or they will be removed. Then we have to call the display function again. So once this is removed, the display function will do its magic and put back all the letters, and of course will give you the opportunity to to click it again. So let's see if it's working. Reshuffle, yeah. So now let's say let's do it correctly. Parents, P-A-R-E-N-T. You see? So let me look for another word. Pens, P-E-N-C-E. Trace, T-R-A-C-E. N-R-A. Okay, good. You see the color has changed. So once it goes down to 0 now, then it will say time up. So as you can see, it says time up. So now let me click OK. You see it has it reloads the whole page. So thank you for bringing out your time and watching this video. I hope you learned a lot from this video, even though I am a bit slow. But I like being slow because it makes everything to enter deeper into your medulla oblongata. I remember following and what is her name again? Anya Kubo. She is way too fast. Sometimes it's difficult to really understand her. So I prefer to go slowly, just like Travis Media. Yeah, going slowly because this thing is very, very complex. So if you just talk too fast, people might find it difficult to understand you. So thank you very much. Have a nice day.